Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you all are doing well. Today I'll talk about list comprehension and how it is the most Pythonic way to deal with data structures in Python. We're going to talk about some simple list comprehension, ones with conditional. We're also going to look at list comprehension with some functions. We'll look at set comprehension, creating dictionary using comprehension, and finally how to iterate through dictionary using comprehension. So I'm going to start with the first one, which is going to be a very simple list comprehension. So we're going to have a list of numbers. Let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 10, right? And now let's say we want to create a new list, which is going to contain every number squared, right? So all you have to do is iterate through the numbers list. So you do for number in numbers, and then you at the start you just do a number times number. So essentially what this comprehension is doing is it's creating a list, and the way it's creating a list is by iterating through our numbers array, and for every number multiplying it with itself. So if it's gonna look at 1 and then do 1 times 1, add it to the list. It's going to look at 2, do 2 times 2, add it to the new list. 3, same thing all the way to 10. So let's print it out. And then we're gonna, there you go. Yeah, so you can see we're getting a list of 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, all the way to 100, which is 10 squared. So very simple to create a new list from an existing list using list comprehension. The next thing we're going to do is do it with a conditional, right? So comprehension. All right, so what we're going to do is create a new list which will contain all the squares except the square of 2. So same, the first thing you want to do is do for number in numbers, and then you go to the front and then just do the square. So number times number. Now you want to exclude 2, and the place where you do that is over here, right? So all you do is for numbers and numbers, and then you stack on a condition if number not equals to 2. That's all you have to do. So you're doing for number in numbers, which is going to do the iteration. Then you give it the conditional, and you give the expression here that is actually going to write to the new array. So if we print this out, so you see before we were getting 1, 4, 9, 16, now we don't get 4 because we're excluding 2, and 2 squared is 4. So very easy for you to just stack on conditionals at the end of a list comprehension. All right, so the next thing we're going to take a look is a function plus list comprehension. Okay, so let's say we have a function called add1, which takes in a number and just returns the number plus 1. That's all it does, right? And now let's say we have our array with a list, which is going to be the increments, right? It's very, very similar. All you do at first is iterate through our numbers array, and then instead of doing that number times number, all we're gonna do is say add 1 to the number. So we're just saying iterate through our numbers array. For every number, call the function add1, and then append the result of that to the list. If we print it out, you can see over here we're getting 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way to 11, which is 1 plus 1, 2 plus 1, 3 plus 1, all the way to 10 plus 1. So very straightforward to just create the, and in this case I just did the plus 1, but this can be as fancy or complicated as you want it to be. So you're encapsulating the logic in that function rather than keeping it over here. The only reason you might want to keep it here is if you have something as simple as just multiplying 2 numbers. All right, so now we're going to look at set comprehension, which is the exact same thing as the list comprehension, but it just removes the duplicates by default. So let's say we have a word. We're gonna A, E, I, O, U. That's the set of vowels. Another set of vowels, another set of vowels, another set of vowels. So we have a string with only vowels over here, right? So if we have, let's say we want to iterate through this word and then find all the vowels that are there, right? So vowels present, and at first we were going to do it with the list, right? So once again, you start with the list syntax and then do for letter in word. If the letter is a vowel, which is if the letter is in this array of A, E, I, O, and U, right? If it is there, then we'll add it, right? So we're just gonna do letter. So essentially what this is doing is telling you iterate through the word. If the letter you're looking at is one of A, E, I, O, U, which is if it is a vowel, append it to the new list, right? I'm gonna go ahead and comment everything out over here. There you go. And then let's print out this new list. You can see we're getting all the letters in the word because all of them were vowels, right? That's why we have like all of them over here. Now instead, if this was a list, all you had to do, let's just rename the variable for set. All you have to do is instead of the list notation, you start with a curly brace, you end with a curly brace. That's a set. And now let's print it out. Same logic for a list, you're gonna get all the vowels, even though you're gonna get A 3 times, right? Because we have 4 times, because we had A here, A here, A here, and A here. But for the set, you're getting the same result, but without the duplicates. And the only change you made is instead of a square bracket, you're using a curly bracket. So that's set comprehension. Everything you can do with list comprehension, you can do with set comprehension. The only caveat being in set comprehension, by default, it's going to remove the duplicate elements in the new set for you. That's because by definition, set is going to be a data structure without any duplicates. All right. All right. So that's done. The next thing we're going to take a look at is how can you create a dictionary with comprehension. So we're going to do dictionary with comprehension. Let's copy paste our numbers list once again. There you go. And now let's say you want a squares dictionary. Okay. And essentially what you want is a dictionary where it's gonna be 1 and then 1 and then you have 2, 4, 3, 9. So essentially the key is the number and the value is the squared of that number. Right, so you'll have 4, 16, stuff like that. And you want to do this while iterating through the list. So how do you do this? You start with the curly braces because that's what you need for dictionary. And then you iterate through the numbers. There you go. And now over here, you need a key and a value. So your key is going to be the number, colon, your value is going to be number times number. There you go. So if you have a key and a value leftmost of the for loop, that means it's a dictionary. So if you print it out, I'm gonna go ahead and comment these out. There you go. Yep, so you're getting 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9, 4, 16, all the way to 981 and 10, 100. So as long as you have a key colon value, and then the iteration, it's gonna be a list comprehension, but the end result is gonna be a dictionary. So very simple to iterate through a list and create a dictionary based on those values. All right, so the last thing we're gonna take a look at is over here. We're gonna look at a dictionary comprehension, which is gonna be, let's have the student scores, which is gonna be a dictionary. The key is going to be the name of the student, and the value is going to be the score. All right, so we have Bob, we have Alice, and then let's say we have Max. Okay. Now, let's say what you want is a list of statements where every statement is going to be the string, something like this, right? You want Bob received 100. The next item is going to be Alice received 50. Next statement is going to be Max received 10. So you want a list where every element is the string over here. We're going to see how to do that, right? So we're going to have a variable called statements, and then it's going to be a list. So square bracket, and then you're going to do for name, comma, score in student scores dot items. Dot items, student scores is our dictionary. What dot items does is it returns to you a list of tuples where every tuple has two elements. The first one is the key and the second one is the value. So essentially what that's going to return to you is a list. Every element is a tuple, and every tuple is the name. Every tuple is the key and the value. And then you're going to get the next key and the value. So essentially you're going to get like Bob 100, Alice 50, and then Max 10, right? And you're deconstructing it over here by doing name, comma, score. And for every one of them, you want a formatted string where it's going to be name received score. There you go. And then let's print it out. And then, yeah, let's run it. So you get Bob received 100, Alice received 50, Max received 10. So once again, your for loop is over here. You're taking the student.scores and doing a dot item on it, which is returning you all the key value pairing of your dictionary in a list. Every element is a combination of the key and the value. And in the expression over here, which is the expression you use to construct the list, you deconstruct it into name and score, and then use the name and score over here. So hopefully that was helpful. Just to recap, we went over a simple list comprehension with conditionals and functions. We also talked about set comprehension, which is essentially list comprehension, but it removes the duplicates. Then we went over dictionary comprehension, where we created a dictionary from a list. And finally, we did a dictionary comprehension, where we iterated through the key value pairs of a dictionary and created an entirely new list in literally one line over here. So hopefully that was helpful. Python gives you these techniques or functions or ways to do things so that you can treat data structures in a more Pythonic way, which is like simple, and with very minimal code, you get high functionality. This is just the surface of list comprehensions. You can do things way more complicated than this, but I hope this is a good start to show you what can be possible. So hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.